Is I'm able to see this whole thing
Okay.
on YouTube.
All right. Great. Sounds good.
Stream has already started. Okay.
Okay. All right. So I'll just
I
wait
think
till
we
I
should
get the
stop.
option because the option to start the webinar is not highlighted as yet.
Is I'm able to see this, but it's already started at YouTube. All right.
Okay. All
Great.
right.
Sounds good. Stream has already started. Okay. We've
Okay.
already have people coming in, right?
So I'll just
I
wait
think
till
we
I
should
get the
stop.
option because the option to start the webinar is not highlighted as yet.
Is I'm able to see this, but it's already started at YouTube.
Okay. Fair enough. Sounds good. All right. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our second webinar for the MBA in Digital Finance and Banking. Our topic of conversation is going to be the future of digital finance and banking. And to help us understand more and clarify our doubts, joining us today on our panel, we have Professor Dr. Anshu Sharma and Professor Dr. Soumyadeep Roy. Professor Dr. Anshu Sharma is an assistant professor and assistant dean of human resource management and organizational behavior at Jindal Global Business School. She is currently the assistant dean of the MBA program since January 2019. She is awarded the FPM degree from MDI Gurgaon and has cleared UGC NET with Junior Research Fellowship. Her doctoral thesis has been awarded Highly Commended Award of Emerald Outstanding Doctoral Research Awards of 2017. Her research paper titled HR Analytics and Performance Appraisal Systems has also been awarded Highly Commended Paper at Emerald Literary Award of 2018. She also received Merit Scholarship during her MBA program, that is in HRM and IB, from Amity University, Noida, and honors in her BTech CSC degree at Kurukshetra University. She is a certified assessment expert from Aon Hewitt Knowledge Center in Gurgaon. Professor Anshu, welcome on our panel.
Hello, everyone. Hope
Okay.
to have an active session.
Well, we hope it's going to be a really, really informative session for all our viewers. Moving on to Professor Dr. Soumyadeep Roy. Dr. Soumyadeep Roy is an assistant professor and assistant dean of international strategy. He is an economist whose work is primarily in the area of applied microeconomic theory. His PhD dissertation titled Optimal Costs, Efforts, and Rewards. Professor Soumyadeep has 5 years of experience working in the banking and finance industry in the area of risk management. Before joining Jindal Global University, he worked as the vice president for the fraud risk for Citibank in Wilmington, Delaware, USA. Before his PhD, he also worked for Genpact in Bangalore. Professor Soumyadeep, welcome so much and thank you for joining us. And we hope that you can really help our students resolve any doubts that they may have today.
Thank you, Sandeep, for the introduction. I'm really looking forward to the session. I see 24, 25 people have already joined, so please feel free to ask us questions. This session is primarily for you. We are here to answer all your questions and give you information, so please ask as many questions as you want, okay?
Thank you so much, Professor Soumyadeep. Myself, Sandeep Pereira, I am the senior program manager with upGrad, and I have been working with upGrad for the last one year and 9 months. upGrad really believes in upskilling and helping people grow in their professional careers. So, with my brief, short introduction, I would not take any more time. but I'd rather jump into the entire idea and the whole concept of this webinar today. So starting off right away, Professor Soumyadeep, could you give us a background or the thought process on why we have come up with this MBA in Digital Finance and Banking program?
Sure. Thanks for that question, Sandeep. So I would like to answer this question in two parts. I will put in a personal note, a personal story to it, and then I'll come to how we came up with the idea, right? So I was in the US for the last 8 years, from 2011 to 2019. And when I came back, I realized that India has gone through some sort of technological revolution, so as to speak, right? And most of this revolution was in the finance, the digital finance and allied fields, the banking industry per se. For example, if you go to the grocery store right now, you can pay via Paytm, right? Or you can pay via debit or credit card. I don't remember too many places, even taking debit or credit cards in 2011. And I don't think anybody used to accept like Paytm and Google Pay and things like that, right? And after I spent a little bit more time, right after coming, it's been a year since I've been back. I realized that this revolution extends to mobile phones, to wireless internet, to video streaming. Things like Netflix and Amazon Prime did not exist. So it has basically revolutionized multiple fields, right? This made me curious, like if technology goes through such revolutionary changes, does society and government also change at the same pace, right? That's the first question that would come to your mind. Now, I did not have an Aadhaar card when I came because I was away for so long. So I was asked to get an Aadhaar card. And when I went to the bank to get my Aadhaar card, I figured that India really has gone through some sort of technological revolution, and the government is really pushing this agenda, this digitization agenda, right? Then the question is, if the government is doing it as well, the question is, are educational institutions doing it as well, right? Because you would think that educational institutions would preempt the demand that the graduates would have in the industry. And I found there were courses on, let's say, data science. There were questions on computer programming. There's lots of programs. There's programs on how to use statistical softwares. But, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there is a single program exists in India that looks at digital finance and banking per se, right? So that's where this idea came from. And then it was discussed within our Jindal University faculty. After that, we approached upGrad. upGrad has quite a bit of experience in this online mode of teaching, and they have a lot of competence in this area. And that's how this progressed. And then we came up with this program, and we think that this program is going to completely transform people's careers, people who are either currently working in the digital banking and finance space, or who are looking to move into that space. For both, we think this would be an excellent program. And Professor Anshu will talk about the details of the curriculum, and so will I. So let's go to the next question, Sandeep.
Yeah, thank you so much, Professor Roy. Could you highlight the key features of this program and why and how it will benefit our students by taking it up?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a unique program. Like I said, such a program does not exist. There are programs in data science. There's programs on IT systems, but there is no program that exists right now on digital finance and banking. So the way we have thought of this is, a student will get all the traditional MBA courses, like operations management, strategic management, consumer behavior, HR. These are things that are part of the curriculum. And these core business courses will be complemented by what we are calling the DFB courses. DFB stands for Digital Finance and Banking. right? And the digital finance and banking courses will essentially bridge the gap between what industry requires right now and the skills and the knowledge that our attendees and that our learners already have, right? So either if it's a working professional or a fresh graduate, a person is coming with a wide range of skills already, and then there is the industry which requires certain skills. There might be a bit of a gap between the two. That's what these DFB courses will try to bridge. Right? So what are the DFB courses? The DFB courses are in artificial intelligence. We have blockchain and cryptocurrency. We have digital fraud and analytics. This will basically explain what are the various challenges that the industry faces right now, and we will use case studies and projects to explain how to solve these issues. The interesting thing about the digitization of the economy is that it does lead to growth and innovation, but at the same time, it also leads to certain problems like, say, data security, privacy. So these are also issues that we will touch upon, like financial regulation, fraud, and risk analytics, how to prevent such things. And the program, just to give a brief, before Professor Anshu gives more details about this, just to give a brief idea of how the program will follow. It's there in the brochure, and I'm sure our attendees have checked quite a bit of it. It will follow a modular structure where students will take both business and DFB courses, and they will be complementing each other. So there will be a couple of business courses and, let's say, a couple of DFB courses. We will start with relatively basic management courses and DFB courses, but as the 2-year program progresses, we will get into much more specialized and slightly advanced topics.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much for that, Professor. Professor Anshu Sharma, the next question is for you. In your experience, what are your estimates on the future of digital finance and banking across the world, and especially in India?
Okay. Hello, everyone. Before I answer this question, I would just like to set a context also, as highlighted by Professor Roy, and also, highlighted by the 2 deans of the school in the last webinar. Look at the context we are coming, from to develop this new program. So the context, larger context, and where the program is embedded. The larger world context is changing financial technologies, right? So the upcoming artificial intelligence, how technological disruption is impacting not only the management arena, but everything you do in your daily lives, right? So technology has become one big factor, influential factor that is hitting the way we are taught and the way we teach, the way you look at jobs. So that's the first contextual factor that's hitting everyone, be it the candidates, be it the B schools, or anything else, right? The second important world level factor is the way we make payments, the world of financial services. So the term fintech. So the fintech is, if you've seen, it is upcoming in your lifetime. For us, it was a new word, right? So that's another upcoming, amalgamation of financial services, banking with technology together. So that's the second important thing. And coming to the third highlight, I think, which Sandeep is also asking, the world level and the Indian context. In India, if you see the kind of financial inclusion the government wants, at this time, because the majority of India is unbanked, as we say, right? So in a larger level of informal sector, the large capacity of rural India, and how technology and financial services are expanding across India. So as a context, as an Indian B school, what I would say, rather than, again, as a world, we are impacted, of course, but as an interplay between local needs and how world environment is changing, that small niche area where we can, groom our students, the future managers, that important skill of financial understanding, at the same time, how you use technology to bring that financial inclusion, is a very important asset, right? So I think not only the financial services, the banking services, but if you see the larger e-commerce sector, so BFSI sector 1, But I would not, because it's a specialized course, of course, that is the cream, that's the cherry on the top. That's a specialized program. But of course, the all other, time-tested managerial subjects which you require, even if you don't want to join a very core niche BFSI sector, right? If you want to join e-commerce industry, if you want to join any other sector, you would not say that this is agnostic of the financial change. That sector is again impacted by analytics. It is impacted by technological revolution. And why I'm saying this is because, included JGU, I have been handling administration and, student sets and placement, all these for the last 5 years, and all inclusive. So I've seen that when industry is hiring from MBA, they don't only require specialized skills, of course, because that is required, but what they also require is the agility to change, the agility from the students to change according to the job requirement. And analytics capacity is what I think this program, it's the strength of the program, right? Finance and technology together.
Okay, understood. Thank you so much. Professor Roy, the next one is for you. How do you feel the current global situation with the pandemic that we are all going through will impact the digital finance and banking domain?
Yeah, so this is a very interesting question, right? This current pandemic that we are going through, we are all sitting at home teaching online classes and ordering stuff on Amazon. So in some ways, the world has gotten even more digitized in the current scenario than it would have normally happened. It's an interesting coincidence, but that we are also starting the program at the same time that this pandemic has happened. We obviously did not plan it that way. But the question is, how does this impact the world of banking and finance, right? So there will be a focus on banking and financial services to be contactless, no physical branches, so on and so forth. People will not be comfortable getting out of their houses and going into a brick and mortar bank. People would prefer to do everything on their phones or on their computer, right? What does that mean? That means there will be more demand for professionals who are trained in courses like this, in programs like this, who have knowledge of this existing of this ever-changing landscape, right? Retail banking all over the world has been done mostly so far in brick and mortar stores, and particularly in India, like Professor Anshu said, that large parts of India are unbanked, and the parts of India that are banked, even there is an emphasis on brick and mortar stores. I know my father still prefers going to a bank, and even though he has a smartphone now and he knows how to use it, he's still kind of hesitant to use all these new age technology, right? There's not that much trust, particularly in that generation. But that has been changing, and this change that I was talking about, the technological revolution, that has been accelerated by this current pandemic. The other thing, apart from this increasing demand for professionals, which is why we are offering this course, the other thing that I think will be interesting is how the government reacts to this, because the government, I feel like, will put more emphasis of delivery of services in an online digitized platform. So if you've been following the policy debates recently, the government in the last 5 or 10 years they have the Jan Dhan Yojana, they have the Mudra scheme, they have various mechanisms for cash transfers directly to the beneficiaries. I would anticipate that the current pandemic and the current scenario would even increase the government's emphasis on schemes like this, and you would probably see more and more government initiated schemes, which means that there will be more demand both from the government side and also from the industry side, because the government can't provide all these services on their own. They would require the need of industry partners, in the same way that JGU is partnering with upGrad. The government would partner with various firms, and this would probably, in my mind, increase the digitization and the demand for professionals.
Thank you so much for that. Professor Anshu, in these current times of the pandemic, since we're already talking about the pandemic, How do you feel the faculty of both Jindal Global Business School and Jindal School of Banking or Finance are equipped to mentor and coach our students during such difficult times when we are all confined into our homes?
So I think we have first overcome the hesitation of teaching online, and we are all equipped technologically and also psychologically, you would say, because it's not now for us. We have been teaching this over a semester. So online teaching and bringing in, I think, more or less the same pedagogical tools that we use in a physical class. So looking at academic qualification of all our faculty members, both JGPS and JSPF, you could see that they're all seasoned professors. They have taught at multiple places. They've taught to diverse student population, ranging from freshers to people experienced executives. So demographically, if we say reaching out, because this is an online program and we are expecting a diverse range of students. Our faculty is completely equipped with that. Secondly, pedagogically, again, as I said, they all worked in industry for quite some time, and some of them are again engaged in industry consulting even now. So for them, I think, and even for us, for both the schools, as we say, because we are embedded in a university setting, which is a great asset for us. Like I'll mention that again, as I mentioned by our deans, that being in a university setting gives us resourcefulness, give us the advantage of multiple disciplines. And if we see even this idea of having this unique online program with a specialized emphasis on banking and finance, could only come because we are in a space where we could sit together, brainstorm, and bring out new things according to industry standards. So, given MBA as a business school asset from JGPS, and the faculties from JSPF, who are all specialized in banking and finance. So I think the amalgamation, the strength of both the schools come together in this program. That's one. And secondly, like I said, the way when we discuss the curriculum ahead, there are specialized live sessions that are there for the students for receiving feedback, for having some mentoring sessions, as well as industry people. Because if you have, as the participants would have read the brochure, it's not only JGU faculty, it's also industry experts, people who have actually, who are currently working in the industry and see the real-time changes, would also be talking to the students. So they will have a balanced, rigor and relevance approach. So they'll have an academic rigor in their program, but also have an industry outlet to talk to people, to hear out industry experts, subject matter experts on a regular basis. Each module is designed like that. So it's a very good mix of both academia and industry.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Professor Anshu. Since we are on the topic of how the university, the faculty are going to be able to mentor our students, Professor Soumyadeep, could you just elaborate a bit on the curriculum and the course structure and how it's designed to keep up with the changing times?
Sure, Sandeep. So I did mention in my first comments that the program has essentially two parts. There's the traditional MBA courses, and then there's the specialized DFB courses, with each complementing each other. So we are not doing it in a way that we teach the traditional courses first and then the specialized ones. We will teach them at the same. In every module, there are 4 courses. 2 are business courses and 2 are TFB courses. So we start off with, business communication, organizational behavior, consumer behavior, strategic management, and then we get on to the things like emerging technology, artificial intelligence. And if you take a look, I don't want to mention all the courses because it's there in the brochure, but essentially the idea is to give the person a well-rounded idea of the digital landscape in India and the various issues that it brings with it, with knowledge about the law, policy, and the analytics domains, right? So a person would get substantial amount of information about these, and via case studies and industry experts, they will know what are the challenges that these companies are facing.
Okay, so it's fair enough to say that once our students take up the program and they complete the 24-month MBA program, they will have a head start when they get their foot through the door in the industry, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. So I have worked in the banking and finance industry for a brief period, and I entered it after doing a master's in economics. Now, I did have substantial theoretical knowledge about how statistics works, how economic theory, so on and so forth. But what I felt like my education really lacked was an understanding of real world issues, which I learned on the job, right? So what this program, the way we have created is, we give students a leg up in that sense, that they are already aware of a lot of the issues that, or a lot of the topics that these industries face, so that that gap that exists is bridged, and they will have an advantage over others who have not done this program, in the sense that they will know very specific things. So if you take a look at the curriculum, there are courses on blockchain and cryptocurrency, on entrepreneurship, on ethics and corporate social responsibility. So these are very specific areas, and I'm not sure if there are too many MBA programs that provide such a diverse pool of courses.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Professor Anshu, could you help us understand what would be mentioned on the degree certificate? And would it be called an MBA degree since it's an online program?
Of course, I think that's a valid question or apprehension in the candidates. But if you see even I'll answer it in two ways. One is, yes, it would be mentioned on the certificate. That's a full-time MBA program, 24 months. But also, if you look at the way, and it's completely transparent according to the guidelines, even UGC guidelines, and the way MBA is run. You could compare it with our physical MBA also. So we have created such a specialized program, and the way credits have been allotted, the way learner hours have been allocated, courses have been designed. In no way it would be it would be at par with any physical MBA. I think even if it's an online MBA, it's a completely fully fledged 2-year MBA program. So I think the expectation from even the candidates is that buckle up. So it would not be a cakewalk. Of course, it would be very rigorous. We would expect you to have the similar expectation that even if it's online, only the modality, if you see, we are taking it online, but the nature of the courses, the rigor of the courses, even the faculty, there is no change. In fact, it's a topple up. We have, brought about the best of our lot from both the schools. So the best professors from both the schools are taking up this, because it's the first time launch, and we are very careful about the quality of the program, what we deliver, what we teach, not only in content, but also pedagogically. So, as you would understand, the kind of environment we have in the class, we do not want to dilute it just because it's an online program. So we are trying to recreate it with simulations, with case studies, with peer discussions in an online program. So as per your degree, it is a full-time MBA program degree that you'll get from both the schools together, which is JGBS and JSBF, with upGrad as our partner. And we are very, very happy to launch, such kind of a very niche, unique program.
Okay. Professor Anshu, you mentioned the rigor that is going to be a part of the program. Would you say 15 hours a week, since this program is online and it's going to be working professionals taking it up? Do you say 15 hours a week should be good enough if a student had to invest that much time towards studying?
Correct. So the way it is designed, we would expect the candidate to spend at least 15 hours, time a week. However, the way it is designed is it's tirelessly designed, which I would say, because it's broken down into smaller sessions. It is interactive. You can, see your learning progress. So while you are watching also a recorded session, it would not, drain you out as a 2 or 3 hour session, because the way we have tried to design it, we have kept in mind your attention spans. So we have broken it down to smaller modules. One, we've also taken care that once you invest this 15 hours time, you also get some exposure to the live sessions of where you can have your questions, your any feedback from the faculty. So that's how we have designed it as a weekly module. I think Sandeep, if you need any more details on this.
No, that's good enough. Thank you so much, Professor Anshu. Since we are already on the topic of the hours and the rigor, could you elaborate a bit on the admission process so that our viewers know how they go about enrolling for the program?
So once again, I think I'll start from the same thing that we have tried to keep the online MBA and physical MBA at par, not only in the quality, but also in the admission entry process. So anybody who's taken CAT, MAT, XAT, or any other national entrance exam, GMAT, GRE, is welcome to apply. Again, there are certain eligibility criteria for each set of exams. So a minimum of percentiles are set up. You can see the details in the brochure for CAT, NMAT, XAT, etc. For GMAT and GRE, the application score is applicable for the last 5 years. So even if you've taken those tests in the last 5 years, you can apply. The third factor is, if you haven't taken because you are busy with your profession and you're a working professional and you were not able to take any of these, we have our own management aptitude test, which is JMAT, and upGrad is very kindly, they have designed and they'll take that test for us. We'll see if, according to your scores, if you match the eligibility criteria as per your application, then you'll be receiving a admission form from them.
Okay, thank you so much, Professor Anshu. Now, Soumyadeep, just a quick question. Let's say I'm a student, I had to take up the program and successfully completed 24 months down the line. What kind of job roles would I be able to apply for in the industry, and what kind of job satisfaction, or rather what kind of industry, or if I say in the banking finance sector industry, what companies would I be able to apply with?
Sure. So the question is, what kind of roles can learners get after they complete the program?
Yeah.
So it's an MBA in digital banking and finance. So the obvious thing is that people would be really well equipped to work in the banking and finance industry. Now, the banking and finance industry itself is quite diverse. Like there are banks, there are financial institutions, and then there are companies who have a finance section, right? So people who do this MBA program, they can work in either. Now, the first part, the banking and finance industry, it could be something to do with analytics or fraud. It could be something to do with data visualization. It could be, payments, operations. It could be anything in that industry, right? Because the program has the basic, the standard management courses as well, and the specialized courses. So, that's the plus point. But I do want to emphasize the fact that we do not need to think of students only working in the banking and finance industry, because any company, right, like a logistics firm, or something to do with the stock market, services, even service providers, they all have a finance section, right? And they are all moving to a digital space. Now, the skills that learners will get when they do this program are relevant there as well. So if you talk about such roles, I mean, it's too many to number. So that's why I'm talking about the industry itself. It could be anything to do with finance, with processing of payments, anything of that sort. So the sky is the limit is what I would say.
Okay, thank you so much. Since we are on the topic of what roles a learner could apply for, post completing the program, I just want to cover a quick segment on how upgrad helps learners with job assistance. So at upgrad we have something called the 360-degree career support, and what that does is basically once a student is part of the program of the university program, the MBA program, and also a part of upgrad, we have a separate team and a department called the career support team, which reaches out to a student and starts the process of helping them build a career for themselves. So what this team does is essentially they help the student create the most relevant resume. They help the student work around and have a very effective LinkedIn page as well. Apart from that, we also have job fairs and we have base camps where our students can interact with their peers. At these base camps, at job fairs, we have quite a few companies that come down, and there are spot offers that could be made as well. And through this career assistance, what we also have are industry experts who mentor our students, preparing them for the roles that they could get into in the future. We also have something called just in time. So if I was a student today and I had and last minute I got a call from a company saying that my interview was scheduled tomorrow, all I would need to do is reach out to the upgrad career support team and inform them that I have an interview coming up, a telephonic interview or a face-to-face interview coming up the very next day. What this team does is immediately reaches out to the industry experts and the mentors and sets up kind of a mock interview between me and the mentor prepares me for this interview. So through this we help our students find jobs for themselves. And let me be very clear, we do not guarantee any job placements. We help you, we assist you in finding the relevant job, but you would be responsible and you would need to find these jobs for yourself. uh, at the same time, we are also partnered with about 300 plus companies who post their requirements, their job requirements with us as well. And what we do is we will inform you as a student about the various openings that are available with our partner companies. But it is your responsibility as a student at the end of the day to apply for these jobs. Upgrad would help you get in touch or inform you about the interview, but establishing contact with the company and applying for the job is purely the role of the individual or the student. I hope that answers the questions regarding the job, the job that could be offered, or are we placing our students, job placements, that kind of thing. We will quickly move on to the question and answer segment. Professor Anshu, let me have a look over here.
So read this long post.
Yeah,
Allow me, I would like to answer.
yeah, sure, please do.
Talking about, I think this professional, hello. So you are in development area, which is sustainable development goals. So one good thing I'll share, and I think that's not mentioned in the brochure, is as GGBS, we are part of the United Nations Global Compact and the India zone also, and we are in regular touch with these professionals for our SDG goals. And when you talk about SDGs in particular, this as all all other courses, we have a specific course on business ethics and CSR. So that course is aligned with SDG goals, and I think the details of what you've written, whether you'll be able to develop those skills and connect with the key entities to make this significant contribution in the sector. I think that particular course and industry people and global compact network people, and we'll help you also to connect, like Sandeep said, we'll help you to connect with these organizations who are working in SDGs. And I think from there you can pick it up. I think your question would be answered, the detailed question that you've asked. So we are completely, we are not agnostic of this fact. Of course, as a B school, we are aiming as one of our mission to be a responsible business school, and we have tied up with Global Compact Network. So I think this particular question would be answered in detail in that course also, and in, while you are connecting with us as a candidate.
Okay. Thank you so much, Professor Anshu. Whoever's posted that question, I hope that answers your question. Professor Soumyadeep Roy, I think the next one would be for you because you would be able to elaborate a lot more on the curriculum side of it. So we have a question that says, are these courses in financial modeling, deal valuation, discounted cash flow analysis, business analytics, basically in the language of R, Startup, Python, Tableau, etc.? Are there any courses that are included in this program in these kind of courses or requirements?
Yeah, absolutely. If you check the brochure, there are actually more than one courses that will talk about some of the topics that you've mentioned. So we will talk about how to analyze financial statements in the first semester itself, which will talk about how to read financial statements, which is something that a professional working in the banking and finance industry should absolutely know. We have courses in business statistics, which I myself am teaching. So I am using R in that course, and there will be a course on data visualization later on in the second year, which will use Tableau as well. I'm pretty sure Stata and Python is also something that some professors might use. We don't know yet, but it's very likely. Financial modeling. Yes, we do plan to teach financial modeling as well. This might be part of various courses, but I would like to teach it in my digital fraud and risk analytics class. Touch upon that. If you think of any topic that is relevant to the digital finance and banking industry, anything that comes to mind, we have tried to touch upon all of those. So you can be rest assured that the courses would go in depth into some of these topics. It's not going to be patchy. It's going to be an overall overview of the entire thing. So that's, I would like to stress upon that. You're on mute, Sandeep.
Okay, you're going to have to excuse me. I've joined in from my phone because there was a power cut and my laptop died. So yeah, there was a third question that is currently not showing since I've just joined on my phone. If either of you could just take that up, please.
So I'll take it up because it's regarding assessment. So I think Tanu Jaiswal has posted, can we know something more about the assessments that would happen in semester basis? So Tanu, there are two things, the internal assessments or the formative assessments and the summative assessments. So while you are taking the module, while you are taking the course, so in a module, there are 4 courses, and that's how we'll go ahead. So in every course, there are some formative assessment, that is continuous assessments that are happening in the form of quizzes, some projects that are given, some assignments, some cases that are given to you by the professors to prepare, and hence you'll be evaluated on that. A summative assessment in the form of end-term exam. So now, depending upon the nature of the course, what the course demands, some faculty would also take an end-term exam, which is like a take-home exam. So you'll be given a time slot at the end of the module, and at that time you'll have to take all your end-term exams. And not all courses would be having a final exam. Some courses would be continuous in nature, just because the nature of the course, like a capstone course, which is simulation based, has to be continually assessed. So you have to take all those assessments along as you go along the program, course wise.
Okay. If there are any more questions, for all our participants, please post them in the Q&A or the chat box, and we would be glad to answer them. Professor Anshu and Professor Soumyadeep, is there anything else that you would like to say to our participants with regards to the future of digital finance and banking in India? Do you see a substantial growth in the industry, which would create jobs and which would actually help people make careers within this industry?
Yeah, I can, if you don't mind, I can go first on that, and Professor Anshu can add on to that.
Sure.
There are a few things that I would like to emphasize on. the first and foremost thing that all the doomsday advocates say is that skills are going to get obsolete very soon. So as the world, this revolution continues, the programs and the educational institutions have to preempt what the industry might need, because there is a lag between a person getting into a program and then getting into industry. There's a 2-3 year lag, and the technology space is it changes so fast that some of the things that somebody might have learned in their engineering course is completely obsolete. That's the nature of the industry. So I would like to stress upon that. We are very mindful of that in our curriculum. So we have artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, digital fraud. You will not find too many MBA programs which have these. There are some, Coursera courses and online programs that you can take, but as a part of the curriculum, there aren't too many places that teach this. So that's number one. The number two is I really want to emphasize on the point of data breaches and security issues that are related to with digital finance, because it is often overlooked. In my previous role in Citibank, I was working in the identity. We were trying to prevent identity theft and credit card fraud, and I got to see the scale of the problem. This is something that there is not that much talk in India. Privacy and fraud. It comes with the turf, right? So as you get more and more digitized, it's easier for fraudsters to act as if they were you. They steal your information. So when I think of my father's apprehension of using credit cards, I keep thinking about that, and I often think that he's quite right. Although not using it at all might not be an option going forward. But there is need for us to think about this, and we have made sure that we've put enough courses on that. So there's a financial criminology course, there's a digital fraud and risk analytics course, there's a financial regulation course. So as these things get bigger and bigger, the government needs to regulate some of these things, which you would have seen in the Facebook case and the Cambridge Analytica case. It's in Europe, it's a big topic of debate. It's a big topic of debate in India as well. But we need to train professionals who understand these things so that they are slightly ahead of the curve. So I would mention those 2 points.
Okay. And Professor Anshu, your take on this part of it?
Yeah, of course. I think I would re-emphasize on the point that it's, even if the specialization that we are calling it, banking and finance, or finance and banking, DFB, but the ambit of job opportunities is not restricted to banking, financial services, insurance, etc. Why? Because again, take a step back in your own life and think about. So the way technology, and especially fintech, your financial technologies are penetrating into your daily lives, it's not only through banks, right, or financial institutions. All your e-commerce organizations, all your private industry, beyond banking, are also looking for professionals who are trained in this domain. So we have and now again with COVID, you could see it more clearly. It has come with a wave because of this COVID crisis. Now again, a silver lining, we could say, a silver lining for the program amid the crisis. But again, think again as India as a larger market for jobs in this segment. The way we are providing mobile technologies, the way we are again going ahead from 4G to 5G in the future. And in recently, there's everything about digital strike that we're talking about, right? Going beyond from this webinar, but digital is the next wave in India, right? And with everything, not only again, so this is the niche area. This is the segment where you'll get jobs. Yes. So banks, yes. Financial institutions, yes. But again, not limited to it. So your opportunities are in analytics, because when we are teaching you digital finance, we're not only teaching you the capability restricting to how to apply technology to financial subjects. We're also talking about, like Professor Roy said, fraud analytics and risk assessment, your policy jobs, so and beyond, even CSR, like somebody posted it. So it's even CSR activities come under the ambit of this, because we are digitizing as an economy, not only one sector. So it's the opportunities are huge, and I think that's the hidden agenda of launching this as a program, as a B school and from upGrad, because we have seen the industry opportunity. It's a blue ocean, and we want to use this opportunity in our benefit.
Okay. While Professor Roy mentioned about his father being apprehensive about, doing online banking, thought came to my mind. When I was a kid, my dad was a businessman, and thrice a week I would have to go down to the bank and stand in a queue to deposit checks and to make withdrawals. And while this webinar was on, it just took me back a bit, and I realized a long time, maybe about, I could say, roughly about 7, 8 years now. I don't remember stepping into a physical banking environment since the last 7 or 8 years. That would be the last I probably stepped into a bank. Everything that I currently do is all online, whether it's transfer of funds, whether it is online purchasing from groceries, especially with this current pandemic, even groceries, to make sure that everything is we are safe in our house. Everything is all bought online. So yeah, you are right. This current pandemic has made it an opportunity where I see this the banking sector, the fintech segment just growing. We have one more question that has come up.
Yeah.
Let me quickly have a look at that.
So I think
Yeah.
I would like to answer that, and there's an irony also involved in this.
Okay.
Yeah, interestingly, because of the guidelines of university, we are even handling the offline MBA in an online mode. So we are getting this from our regular students. Can we come and join physical classes? Anyways, after this program, you would be a JGU alumni, and you are welcome to all the seminars, classes, webinar, whatever, even the festivals that we have, student fest we have on campus. So you'll get the benefits of a JGU alum. So once you finish this program, I think you're all invited to come and visit whenever we open up physically after the UGC guidelines, whatever the government regulations are there. I think you're always welcome to the university campus.
Just clarify on that, Professor Anshu. Would it have to be visit via appointment? Would they need to take an appointment that they would want to visit the campus or the library, or would they just be able to walk in?
So I think via appointment is a better option, because the kind of ID, it's a fully secured campus because it's a residential campus, and we monitor the entry and the exit. So I think
okay, all right. So for all our listeners, anybody interested in taking up the program, and anybody who would want to go down to our campus, the JGU campus, post the pandemic and the lockdown, ending, please make sure that you do take an appointment. You can reach out to the university. The number is on the web page. You can write to them,
right,
and definitely take an appointment and visit them. So I guess that's it from
candidate. So the admissions, Mr. Vikram Tomar, his number and email ID is given on the brochure.
Yes.
So I think he is the right person to get in touch for this.
Okay. Yeah. So for anybody who would want access to the brochure and the curriculum, you would need to go to www.upgrad.com. You can register over there, and there's an option to download the brochure and the curriculum. So once you register and you click on download brochure and curriculum, you would get an automated email which would give you access to the brochure and curriculum. You could look for Mr. Vikram Singh Tomar's number on that and reach out to him for further information. Professor Somidhi, Professor Anshu, anything that you would like to add? We are almost at the end of today's webinar. Any message that you would like to convey to our viewers? Why this program is something they should go in for?
Yeah, I think we've spoken about the program enough. I really want to thank upGrad for hosting this webinar, and for Sandeep for structuring it in such a beautiful way. And for our attendees, please go check out the upGrad platform and learn a little bit more about them. Follow them on Instagram. I have been, and they have a very active social media following. So I would like to emphasize that upGrad are equal partners in this, and they bring a lot to the table. So I would really encourage the attendees to go and check out their services.
Thank you, Professor Somidhi. All right. So for everybody watching us on YouTube right now, thank you so much for tuning in. Please click on the subscribe and the like button for further information and updates on technology, data, and management. Professor Roy, Professor Anshu, thank you so much for your time today. And it was wonderful having you on this webinar and answering all our doubts and queries. We look forward to having more sessions with you in the near future. And stay safe for now. All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Siddhi.
Bye-bye.
Bye.